Hey, what up, though? Peace, peace. Welcome back. You know who you rocking with and you know where you at. So let's get to it, man. Northeast DC natives and friends of 50 plus years, Manruth and Mark sat down to talk about growing up in the Langston Terrace dwelling since 1975. After a few remarks about one another and the neighborhood's solidarity before gun violence erupted and Washington, D.C. became the United States murder capital, they began to make mention of names like Curt Bone and Alpo Martinez, both having solid opinions of Curt Bone and varying opinions of Poe, with Manruth telling a tale of a kinder, gentler Poe, and Mark telling a tale of a deceptive, more manipulative Poe. Let's take a look at that video.
And you know, the first time I ever met Alpo was around Langston, Terrace. As we know, that he had I'm not gonna use her name, but he had a kid by a female that we grew up around, Negative Mom, but I'm not gonna use her name. Shout out to her, she know who she is. As time going on, when I met him, I knew that he had a lot of deception with him, and I knew that I wasn't gonna allow him to manipulate me like he manipulated all these other dudes. People catered to him, but at the end of the day, I felt like I'm not gonna cater to no man, because just the same way, he was that guy, I felt like I was that guy. Before I had met him, I was already getting money, and he just was added to what I was doing. But one thing I never let him do is let him play me so close that he played other individuals real close, that he backdoored them. You know what I'm saying? And that was something that I chose not to do.
As you can see in that clip, Mark says, I knew that he had a lot of deception with him, and I knew that I wasn't going to allow him to manipulate me like he'd manipulated all those other dudes. I thought to myself, if I had a chance to interview Mark, I'd ask him who he felt was being manipulated by Poe. And if he tried to point it out to any of his friends at any given point in time, after all, Poe was supposed to be considered an outsider, right? I mean, this is by his own admission within the video. I'd also ask if he felt Poe was deceptive. I'd also ask why he felt Poe was so deceptive and at what point he sensed it. You feel me? Like, when did you feel Alpo was being deceptive? Did you try to alert Curt Bone to it? As Curt Bone is like the big homie. The way I look at it, the way he spoke a little bit, he saw something in him and he turned him on and such and such. It'd only be right for you to give him a heads up if you felt that there was an air of untruth or deception or manipulation going on, right or wrong. I dig that. In that same clip, he also said people catered to him, but at the end of the day, I felt like I wasn't going to cater to no man, because the same way he felt like he was that guy, I felt like I was that guy. Before I met him, I was already getting money. He just added on to what I was already doing. Now, to that I say this. He admits to doing business with him because he says he just added on to what I was already doing. Even though he felt deceptive, that's what I don't understand. Did he do business with him even though he felt deceptive? Or because of the business he did with Poe, he then began to feel a deceptive vibe or a manipulative vibe? You feel me? And also, who catered to Poe? That's another good question. Who catered to Poe? You feel me? Like what individuals are you talking about outside of the one person that everybody knows was Poe's right-hand man when he was in town? Who else could you be speaking about? Because in my mind, it looks like a shot at Curt Bone. Anybody else see it like that? I don't know. So check it out, man. In the next clip, Manruth tells a tale of a different side of Poe. A kinder, gentler Poe, like I said before. Let's take a look at that clip.
Yeah, I kind of remember when I first seen him. He had a red Montero truck sitting right in front of Fuzzy's house. And I remember it was nice. He had raisin rims on it, Ricky Thompson tires on it. And I was looking at the truck, he's like, well, I spoke to him right then and there, but I didn't do no business with him at that time, you know. As time went on, I got in the game and I moved up. Then a couple times, he did look out for me. Right? I remember one time I lost a drug pack once right here by the mailbox. And me and my man, Lil Jeff. Remember Lil Jeff? Yeah, we were running from the cars and I dropped it and I couldn't find it. So I'm walking all down the damn man, I gotta get the money back. So Poe was sitting right here. Like, yo, you lost something? Yeah. So he helped me find it. I couldn't find it. So the pack I had was worth $400. So he went in the car, gave me $1,000, man. Y'all don't worry about it. Keep your head up. And I remember that moment, you know.
Now, as you could also see in that clip, Manruth says, I remember a couple times he looked out for me. Detailing losing a drug pack worth about $400 while running from the law, and Poe giving him $1,000 and telling him don't worry about it so he could cover the debt. Now, I'd be remiss if I didn't say it's always a breath of fresh air to hear somebody telling a story about the lighter side of Poe, as opposed to whomever would like to label him to be. You know, salute to Manruth for doing that. You feel me? Let me not go without saying that. But to play devil's advocate, I'd also be remiss if I didn't say that I thought to myself, what if Poe took it? I mean, shit, if I was there, I would be looking at the individuals that was around when I was running from the police. And he did say Poe was around when he was running from the police or whatnot, you know. So I thought to myself, what if Poe took it and then gave that young, impressionable young man $1,000 to corrupt his mind with a gift? Oh, you can't find it? Don't worry about it. Here you go. This and that and the other. You feel me? I mean, who knows? Manruth did say that they did some sort of business. He alluded to the fact that they had done some sort of business over a period of time of getting to know him. You feel me? Lastly, I want to touch on a statement that Mark made about the Langston Terrace dwellings. Now, when the video first began, Mark says, when we used to be doing our thing around Langston Terrace, we never allowed outsiders to come in and do their thing. If you didn't live around here, you couldn't be around here doing no illegal activities. And that was something we was big on because we built it from the ground on up, from the bottom on up, he says. That's interesting. Again, respectfully, that is, you know. If that was the case, how did Alpo ease in and engage in illegal activities with minimal issue? Let's just say that. Was it the fact that he'd had a baby with Fuzzy that solidified him as a native for the time being in the town or whatnot? Because, you know, the first story I heard, the first story I heard from Manruth, he says he was sitting in the red truck outside Fuzzy's house. So he was already chilling in the Langston Terrace as an outsider. The fact that both of you individuals said that you were doing business with him at one point in the other scene says that he began to do illegal activities in the Langston Terrace, along with Curt Bone, because we all know that he worked with Curt Bone at some point in time in a different time. So, was it the fact that he'd had the baby with Fuzzy? Or was it the heavy influence of Curt Bone that garnered his acceptance in the Langston Terrace tower, in the Langston Terrace dwellings? That's just something that I was thinking about, you know. Also, you stated that you done business with him. That's Mark. Mark stated that he done business with him. What made him consider doing business with Alpo? Again, was it Curt Bone's influence? Was it the prices? You know? Because in the end, he formed a opinion of Poe as manipulative and deceptive. I'd like to know where those opinions came from, outside of what everybody knows, because they both led on that nobody knew exactly what was going on until the murders began to happen, indictments began to fall, and everything else like that. But in the end, it was a very, very good video, informative. Both of those gentlemen are intelligent and well-spoken. You can find a link to the full video in my description box, as well as in my community tab, as I bumped it a little bit earlier. Peace to the gods and earths. Piece of shit to a hater. You know how I carry it. Until we meet again.